Hey everybody, this is Thaddeus Winter. We're going to be going through some settings on your computer that are slowing your computer down, especially when you're using IMVU. And we're going to get rid of some stuff on your computer that is probably there by default, including some default settings within the IMVU software itself that is going to make your system run a lot faster, a lot smoother, and with less hiccups along the way. Let's begin. I want you to navigate down towards the bottom of your screen here, and you're going to see this little magnifying glass right here. Now, you may be using Windows 8 or Windows 10, and it'll probably be over here. In some cases, you have to actually click on the little Windows icon that's sitting over here. Okay, but let's go ahead and open up our search tool, and we're going to type in task, and task manager is what we're looking for. Let's go ahead and click on that. From here, we're going to go up here to startup. Okay, right there. And I want you to look, some of you might have a full page of stuff here, but I want you to go through each one of these programs. Now, these are programs that are going to slow down your computer, and they're also going to slow down the startup process for your computer because it's going to try to start up all these programs you have listed. So what you need to do is go through one by one and click on each one and disable. Now, mine's already disabled, so you have to re-enable it. Do not touch your audio driver. Anything that says audio, do not touch that. And I would not recommend that you touch your Windows security notifications and stuff as well. I did just because I don't need it. I run a live system, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to make sure all those are disabled, and then from there, we'll move on to the next step. In this step, we're going to be dealing with your temporary internet file folders, okay? Now, I don't have temp files on here, so I cannot show you, but you can get there very easily by just hitting the Windows key plus a letter R. That will bring up the run box here, and you can just type in TEMP for temp and hit enter, and a file will come up, a folder will come up. You'll go ahead and hit Control A, which will highlight all those files, and then of course right click on any one of the files that are highlighted. Make sure they're all highlighted when you right click, and select delete, and that'll take care of those. However, there is another unseen temporary file folder that is used for what they call BTR65 protocol, which is a sort of temporary file that does not store itself necessarily just to websites, but both websites and applications that have temporary data. So the way you get there is by selecting percentage, TEMP, and percentage again, and go ahead and hit enter. This will pop up, and what we're going to do here once again is we're going to hit the letter A and hold down as we're doing it the control button, which is on the bottom left-hand side of your keyboard. So control down, letter A will highlight everything. We'll travel right up here to any one of these. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be the top one. Any one of these, and just right click like this and then select delete or the trash can. Now you're seeing a different view because for those of you on Windows 10, this is Windows 11 version. So if you're on 11, it'll be this little trash can. Otherwise, you'll get something that looks like this. Okay, hit delete. Now this is going to pop up right here. You want to select this little box that says do this for all current items, and then just hit skip. Okay, that's going to make sure, and the same thing again, that's going to make sure that your programs that you actually need to have don't go anywhere. Okay, so that's all you have to do there. Let's move on to the next step. Now we're going to talk about the services on our computer, and I'll show you what those are in just a moment. Let's start off by hitting the Windows key and the letter R, okay? And we're going to type in msconfig, okay? Go ahead and hit enter. This is the box that's going to pop up. We're going to go right over here to services, okay? And before we do anything at all, we're going to check this box that says hide all Microsoft services, okay? Those are the ones that are necessary. Everything else is not necessary. Now, there are certain settings within here that you may want to look through in the event that they will affect any kind of other programs that you are currently running, but they're not. So you don't need to worry about them most likely. Now, a majority of these are all going to be checked. I want you to go over here and hit disable all, and then hit OK. Okay, and that's it. On to the next. So the next step we're going to take here is going to be dealing with your defrag program. Now, defrag is very important because it allows you to organize things just how they're supposed to be. I know that's difficult for a lot of people to understand, so I'll just explain the best way that I can. The one thing you have to remember is all your files on your computer are all in specific locations for a reason, okay? And it's sort of like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. Everything has to be attached to the location where it's at. Otherwise, your computer has to go on a wild goose chase. It's a wild goose chase. It takes about 1/100th of a second but it's still, over time, file after file being misplaced can cause a good deal of lag in your computer. And it has the potential to actually do damage like over time if you let it just stay like that. So defrag is very important. Okay, so I'll show you how I got here. Now you can see I have it pinned to my taskbar right down here. But we'll just go to search and just type in defrag. Okay. And once defrag is up on the screen here, now if you want to pin it to your taskbar down here like I have, you can just right click on it and just choose pin to taskbar, which should be located right there. Mine says unpin because it's already there, obviously. So that's all you have to do. Okay, let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. First thing we're going to do is make sure that we're clicked on the hard disk drive. Now, this program, if you've never run it before, or if it's running on a weekly basis, you have it turned off for whatever reason, and it's been like that for a while, it's going to take some time probably, okay, because chances are you've thrown files all over the place. Like I said, most of the lag issues are due to human error, not because of the computer really. So if you don't have this thing running on a regular basis, it's probably really congested and it's going to take some time. The second step we're going to take once we do this, and you can do this after the video is done because this, like I said, it's going to take some time. So let's make sure that this is turned off. You don't need scheduled activity in there. Okay, it's just not necessary. As a matter of fact, it will slow your computer down if you have it like that, because it's just one more process that the computer has to look at constantly, actually, while other things are going on. So just turn it off and remember about every month and a half to 2 months or so to run it, and that should be good. However, if you think you're not going to be able to remember, then go ahead and leave that box checked. Okay, and that's it. Hit OK. And when you do process it, you'll just hit optimize. Forget analyze. Don't do that. It's completely pointless. It will analyze as it's being done. So it's not really a big deal. So just go to optimize right here. You'll click on that and let it run in its entirety. It could take up to 2 or 3 hours. I'll let you know right now if you haven't done it in a while. Okay, let's move on to the next step. Okay, so this next part is going to have to do with our display and some display options that we have, which is, we're talking about the screen, obviously. Once again, back down to the magnifying glass, and we're going to type in themes, okay? And you want to go right here where it says themes and related settings. Go ahead and click on that. From there, we're going to go up here to where it says color teal. And we're going to make sure that the transparency effects are turned off. Now, what are transparency effects? That's kind of like when you have a menu pulled up and you can kind of see into the background of your desktop. I don't know why that would be important, but I guess to certain people, they kind of like seeing that opacity, that transparency there. So go ahead and just turn that off, okay? It causes a lot of headaches over time. The next step, we're going to go into our power plan, and we're going to tell our computer what we want it to do once we have been inactive over a certain period of time. And everything is kind of all inclusive, so it'll do it for you, but we do have to make some small edits here that won't take much time. Let's go ahead and go down here to our magnifying glass. We're going to type in power, just type in power. Now, on Windows 11 operating systems, this is going to be called the Edit Power Plan, and there is a power options area. But I have a third-party, I have lots of third-party applications on my computer. I have a third-party application in there that disables me from being able to go directly to the power options. So unfortunately, I have to go the long route, and you may have to as well, depending on which version of 11 you're running. So go ahead and click on Edit Power Plan here, and when this window opens up, just come right up here to where it says Power Options. Click on that. Now, as you can see, we have a choice between the high performance and balance, okay? I suggest that people use high performance. Other technicians will tell you, no, go with balance because over time it'll wear out your PC. It's completely up to you, but you do need to choose one or the other, okay? And once you do, you're going to want to create a power plan if you do not have this showing up here. Once you do, you're going to go in and edit that power plan and give it a little more detail on what to do. I'm going to walk you through it. It's not scary. I know it sounds scary. So let's go ahead and go over here to where it says create a power plan. From there, let's go ahead and choose, and you can choose to go with balance or power saver or high performance. Don't go with power saver, please. It's not good. Trust me. We're going to go to high performance. I'm going to just name this whatever. We'll call this just call this the test. Okay, go ahead and hit next. And we have this option right here where we're going to say 10 minutes before the display turns off. I'm going to set it to never. Also, plug in, I'm going to set it to never. Okay, and go ahead and hit create. You can choose whatever you want. You can see all the options here from 1 minute all the way up to 5 hours. Okay, so you can choose to go with any time frame you want. It doesn't really matter. And go ahead and hit create. Now, once we have created this high performance, we're going to go over and we're going to change the plan settings. Okay, actually we call it test, but it's the same thing. It is a high performance. So go ahead and click this right here, change power or change plan setting. Okay, and from here we're going to go down here where it says change advanced power settings. This little window is going to pop up here. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to scroll down to where it says processor power management. Go ahead and click the little plus sign there. And we want this state, I'm going to double click on this where it says minimum processor state. You want this to be at 0 and for plugged in to be at 100, which it already is. Maximum, okay? This can be 100 and 100 on both of these right here. Scroll down just a little bit. Display, turn off display after never and never, like we have selected. Okay, so make sure that those settings are all just like that. Okay, just how you see here. Okay, so on battery 0, that's minimum processor state. Plugged in 100%, on battery 100, plugged in 100. Okay, and go ahead and hit apply. And then go ahead and hit OK. And that's the end of that. On to the next step. There are 2 final steps that we have yet to make. And the first one is we're going to open up our IMVU software. Okay. And when we open up the IMVU software, we're going to want to go into the settings area located right up here. And from there, we're going to go over here to advanced. And from advanced, we're going to make sure that we have selected accelerated graphics 3D or accelerated graphics OpenGL. You want to go with OpenGL, and I'll explain if you really want to know the reason, but it's extremely techy and whatnot, and you may not quite understand what I'm saying. Basically, one is piped in through the IMVU server itself that interacts with your computer, and the other is something that is already saved up with the room or environment that you're traveling into, if that makes any sense. And if you understand anything about graphics, then you'll understand the reason that takes place and why that can hold your computer back as much as it does. So make sure that's checked. Go ahead and click out of your settings area. Okay. And let's go ahead and close this down. We're going to actually close the entire software down altogether. In order to do that, you want to look for the icon. It should be over here somewhere. If not, go ahead and click on this little arrow and it'll probably be up over here. So just go ahead and right click on the icon, select exit, and then exit IMVU. Boom, we're out of there. We're going to go now into a program called Disk Cleanup. So go ahead and just do a search under disk, and you'll see it pop up right here. It'll be Disk Cleanup. Go ahead and right click on that. If you don't have it on your taskbar, if you want to put it there, you can by saying pen to taskbar. I already have mine on there, so I don't need to. Okay. We're going to go down to the disk cleanup. You don't have to put it there, by the way. If you want, it just makes it kind of easier to have stuff on the taskbar. So go ahead and click on this program now. And it's going to do an initial check right there, as you saw. And we're going to go through here. But before we do, folks, let's make sure that if you have a download folder that is located here, that it's not checked. Make sure that's unchecked, because anything you download should be put away in the proper files. But if it's not, it's going to get rid of everything in your download folder, okay? It's going to delete everything. So make sure that's out of there, especially for those of you who are out gathering up textures, the perfect textures and all that stuff. You definitely don't want to have that flushed out, okay? The last step here is we're going to click on where it says clean up system files. Now, this is kind of important, especially if you've done a recent upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11 or from Windows 8 to Windows 10 or whatever the case might be, because what happens in the process of all that taking place is there's a lot of leftover BS files that are just hanging out. It's just a bunch of crap hanging out there. And it doesn't really go anywhere. It just kind of kicks back and kind of goes on a retirement program and just sits there and goes, oh, yeah, it's nice around here, you know. So make sure that you run this program just the way I'm showing you. Before you do this, you most likely should run the defrag. But me personally, I run this first, and then I run the defrag, and then I run this one last time. Okay, and there's a reason behind that. I'm not going to get into a bunch of explanation about it, but there's a reason I do it that way. It just kind of works a little bit better. Basically, there's some unseen settings that may not have presented themselves if you don't do an initial clean before doing the actual defrag. And then, of course, at the end. Okay, so just go ahead and click on that where it says clean up system files. And from there, we will go and we'll make sure, once again, scroll here, make sure your download stuff is not in there. Okay, and you can go ahead and hit OK. And then hit delete files. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Let it run its course. And in some cases, it'll take a while, especially if you haven't run disk cleanup before. Good Lord, if you haven't done that before, your system's probably going to be hurting pretty bad. That is the end of this video. I hope it's been helpful. Please make sure to run your defrag, folks. Run that defrag, otherwise all this is completely null and void, okay? Please run that defrag. Make sure everything is situated and organized properly the way that it should be. And then the final step, of course, is to run that disk cleanup. It will take everything that is not supposed to be there and get it completely and totally out of your way, okay? Please, 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 don't do it any other way, I beg you. If you have any questions or concerns, you can pose them in the comments here. Please give me a like. I like it when I get likes. Please give me a comment if you choose to, or if you want to see other videos on other things, please let me know. And please share this with the IMVU community, whether it be on Facebook or anything else. All of my social channels and contacts are in the area below. And of course, you can always reach out to me directly on IMVU by looking me up. Thaddeus Winter, Thaddeus Winter. And I look forward to seeing you all there. Everybody have a wonderful day. Ciao.